There is a sound coming from somewhere outside your house tonight. You have heard it before. That low, resonant call moving through the dark, like something that belongs to a different world entirely. Most people pull the blanket up and think nothing of it. An owl. Nighttime. Normal. But here is what almost no one knows. That call is not random. It is not simply an owl making noise in the dark. What you are hearing when an owl calls at night is one of the most precise, most intentional, most information-dense communications in the natural world. And part of what it is communicating, right now, tonight, outside your house, is about you. Welcome back. Subscribe before you leave, because what you are about to learn will change the way you hear the dark forever. Most people think of the owl's call the way they think of a dog barking. Noise, presence, general announcement. It is none of those things. The great horned owl, the one most likely calling outside your house tonight, produces a call that functions as a three-dimensional acoustic map of its territory. Every hoot, every pause, every variation in pitch and rhythm carries specific information that other owls in the area decode instantly. Researchers at the Max Planck Institute for Ornithology spent years analyzing great horned owl calls with acoustic equipment sensitive enough to detect variations invisible to the human ear. What they found was this. The call contains the owl's individual identity, its precise location, its current physical condition, and its assessment of the immediate environment, including whether a threat is present. All of that in one call. When an owl calls from the oak tree at the edge of your yard, every other owl within a mile radius knows exactly which owl it is, exactly where it is standing, and exactly what it has found there. What it has found there includes you. Here is what changes everything. The owl's call shifts when a human is present. Not dramatically, not in a way the untrained ear would catch. But researchers who have spent years in the field with these birds will tell you that the call of an owl who has registered a human presence in its territory is measurably different from the call of an owl operating in an empty landscape. The rhythm changes slightly. The pause between phrases lengthens. The call sometimes drops in volume, not because the owl is less confident, but because it is recalibrating, reassessing, updating its acoustic map to include the new variable. You are the new variable. That owl outside your window tonight has already placed you inside its model of the world. It knows you are there. It has adjusted its communication accordingly. And every other owl in the area now knows there is a human present at that specific location. You have been announced to the night. People assume owls call at night because they are nocturnal. That is true, but incomplete. The real reason the owl's communication system is built for darkness is acoustic. Sound travels differently at night than it does during the day. The daytime soundscape is full of competing noise. Wind moving through leaves, insects, other birds, human activity. Signal gets lost in that chaos. At night, the atmosphere itself changes. Temperature inversions occur. Layers of cool air trap sound close to the ground and push it further than it would travel in daytime conditions. The background noise drops to almost nothing. The owl's call, in those conditions, can travel up to 2 miles with perfect clarity. 2 miles. That means when the owl calls from your yard tonight, it is communicating with every owl in a 2-mile radius simultaneously, in real time, about what is happening right now in your yard. The darkness is not a limitation. It is the medium the owl was built for. It is the condition under which its communication system works at maximum range and precision. Your yard at night is not quiet. It is transmitting. This is the part that most people never think about. The call is important, but the silence is the message. When an owl goes quiet mid-call, when the sound that was moving through your yard a moment ago simply stops, that is not the owl leaving. In almost every documented case, sudden mid-session silence in a great horned owl means one thing. Something changed. Something in the environment shifted in a way the owl registered as significant. A predator, a movement, a sound below the threshold of human hearing that arrived through the owl's extraordinary sensory system and triggered an immediate reassessment. Great horned owls have asymmetrically placed ears, one higher than the other on the skull. This asymmetry allows the owl's brain to triangulate the precise three-dimensional location of a sound source with accuracy measured in fractions of a degree. They can locate a mouse moving under 6 inches of snow in complete darkness purely by sound. When that system detects something worth stopping for, the owl stops. So the next time you are lying in bed and the owl outside goes suddenly quiet mid-call, do not assume it left. It is still there. It heard something. It is processing. And in that silence, it is paying more precise attention to your yard than any security system you have ever owned. There is something that sits at the edge of what science currently knows how to talk about. Across cultures, across centuries, across every continent where owls exist, human beings have associated the owl's nighttime call with the nearness of death. The ancient Romans believed an owl's call predicted the death of Julius Caesar. Native American traditions across dozens of distinct nations associate the owl with messages from the spirit world. In the folklore of the British Isles, an owl calling near a house was understood as a warning. These beliefs are so consistent across cultures with no contact with each other that researchers who study the intersection of animal behavior and human experience have begun asking a different question. Not whether the beliefs are superstition, but whether they encode an observation. Because here is what is documented. Owls are drawn to locations where small animals are dying or recently dead. Their prey, mice, voles, rabbits, congregate near human settlements. When illness moves through a household, when the routines of a house change, when the patterns of human activity shift in ways associated with decline, the landscape around that house changes in ways an owl's extraordinary sensory system can detect. Whether that is the full explanation for what millions of people across thousands of years have consistently experienced, science does not yet know. What science does know is that the owl is detecting things at the edge of your house tonight that you cannot detect yourself. Things below the threshold of human hearing. Things in the infrared. Things in the pressure and chemistry of the air around your property. When the owl calls near your house on a night that later becomes significant to you, the explanation may not be supernatural, but it may not be as simple as coincidence either. Tonight, if the owl calls outside your house, here is what is happening in plain language. A great horned owl has claimed the territory that includes your property. It has been monitoring your yard, probably for months, learning its rhythms the way it learns everything, through patient, precise observation in the dark. It knows the movement patterns of every small animal that crosses your lawn. It knows which trees hold which prey at which times of night. It has a model of your property that is more detailed than anything you consciously know about it. And it calls to maintain that territory. To communicate with its mate, who may be a mile away and who hears every word. To tell other owls that this space is occupied, monitored, known. The call you hear is the owl doing its job. The job it has done every night, whether you were listening or not, whether your window was open or closed, whether you recognized it for what it was or folded it into the background of the night and forgot it by morning. But now you know what you are hearing. You are hearing a mind at work in the dark, precise, patient, ancient. Mapping the world with sound because the world it lives in runs on sound. And somewhere in that map, in that call that travels 2 miles through the cool night air and carries your location and your presence to every owl within range, somewhere in all of that, you are in there. The next time you hear it, and you will hear it, probably sooner than you think, I want you to stop for just a moment before you pull the blanket up. Listen to how long the pause is between calls. Listen to whether it changes while you are lying there. Listen to what happens when you move, when you shift in bed, when you make a sound. Because it is listening to you at the same time. The owl outside your house tonight is not calling into empty darkness. It is running a precise, real-time assessment of everything in its territory, sending that assessment out across 2 miles of silent night air and receiving information back. You are part of that conversation. You have always been part of it. You just never knew your name was being said. Tell me in the comments, have you ever heard an owl call at night and felt something you could not explain? A moment that stopped you. Tell me what it was. I read every one. I will see you in the next one.